Hi there, I'm Dr. LaQuita J, and welcome to my YouTube channel where I talk about all things in between being and becoming a pharmacist. How you doing? You alright? Listen here, I have found one of the worst things and tragic things you can do is to get ready, and while you're getting ready, you sit here and forget your coffee. You didn't sit here, took all this time out to make the coffee, but you didn't somehow forgot about your coffee, right? This morning, I took all this good time and made my coffee before I got here, and I'm just like, okay, get this coffee going and start, and I left it. I'm reaching for my coffee. Like, where's the coffee? It was left on the kitchen counter. That's where it was left at, and I'm just like, rush out the door, but it's okay, right? And it's like a hurtful feeling because it's like all that preparation just wasted, right? And honestly, that's what a lot of pharmacists are doing when they are preparing for the Naplex. They spend all these hours quizzing and quizzing and never circling back to review. It feels productive in the moment, right? You feel very productive in the moment. Like me brewing that perfect cup of coffee. It feels very, productive. But on test day, all those efforts get left at home. All those good efforts get left at home. And preparation without follow through does not move you closer to passing. It's where most people get stuck. Recently, I was on a call. I think this was more so a strategy call. I was on a strategy call with Dr. Williams. And with Dr. Williams, she said something that just made me pause. She said, Dr. J, I'm doing questions every day. But when I go back a week later, I don't remember what I practiced. The performance is not right. I'm not hitting 80 scores on it. I feel like I'm just spinning my wheels. I said, okay. Then I went into details. I said, so tell me about this. Tell me about like how you're studying, what's going on, right? And she gets into it. And I said, here's the trap. And the trap is you are constantly quizzing without reviewing. It's giving you this illusion that you are making progress, but the reality is you're not. The knowledge is not sticking. It's not sticking at all. And does this come up for you? Let me know in the comments. Is this coming up for you? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. I really want to know this. Is it coming up for you? Because this conversation I had with Dr. Williams, I said, I wanna introduce you something that I also teach my clients, and that's called the after recall loops. Because it's not enough to just test yourself once. You have to loop it. You have to recall, check, correct, repeat. Recall, check, correct, repeat. Okay, recall, check, correct, repeat. Okay, look at me. Okay, got bars. But you have to recall, check, correct, and repeat until it becomes automatically every time. And let's be very clear with this. It's a big misconception. And it's even something she brought up during our call, and I was like, that's so good. She was like, she said, I watched her video and you said something so powerful. And I was like, what did I say, girl? She was like, you don't have to memorize every single page in your Naplex prep book. I said, you don't. You really don't. You don't. Hey, you don't have to memorize every single thing. It's certain things you do need to memorize, but not every single thing. You know, you don't need to memorize all those things. Like formulas, certain formulas, yeah, you need to memorize. But it was even the other day. We do study with me sessions, live sessions with me, right? And clients in the NaPlex Play program, they come in and do, because it's like a way we auto correct what they're doing. And one client I had target challenge to, well, I got challenge her. I gave her a task of, okay, let's bring your notes. Let's work on some notes, and let's really see like how your notes are looking. And with her notes, we identify like, okay, we don't necessarily need this information. It's like she had a lot of unnecessary information in there, right? And those are kind of things like we don't necessarily need to put that, like commit some of those things to memory. We can just, it don't have to necessarily be on our sheet, but it's like, okay, that's something that's gonna, you would know when you know, right? It's just like every time you see lisinopril, you're not writing that lisinopril side effects cough. It's just something they're just embedded in you. You just know, right? The same way. And you don't necessarily memorize things that you already know. Like, why we wasting space and time to put in our notes? Because we already know what that is. So that's another one. But it's also a thing of the fact that we have to unblock these bigger answers and these side effects, right? Because like I said, some things we already know. The formulas that keep showing up, like ANC, creatinine clearance, TBNs, corrected calcium, that's something we kind of know. The facts that unblock the big answers, like the hallmark side effects, first line treatments, again, like associations that speed up the test, like test and recall. Like I said, ACE inhibitors, we know that's cough. Vancomycin, red man syndrome. Those are some things we know. And that's really the difference between knowing what matters and leaving, look at me, and leaving your house and leaving the coffee on the counter, right? Those are some things that really true matter. And I want to talk about this concept. And I was like, oh, I forgot to do my little slide, but we're going to talk about it anyway, okay? Because I like that. Recall, check, correct, repeat, okay? Recall, check, correct, repeat. I like that. It's a ring to it, I know. So the four-step loop is just basically you building on every session. Like you're going to recall. You're going to recall by pulling the information out of your head without looking down. Without looking at your notes, recall the information. What is the formula for milliequivalence? What is the formula for osmolarity? What is the formula for corrected calcium? I don't know if it's corrected clearance, but corrected calcium. And you're going to recall it. Either write it down, say it out loud. Because if you're a visual learner, you're going to write it down. If you're a verbal learner, you're going to say it out loud. I mean, not verbal. Auditory learner, you're gonna say it out loud. If you're a kinesthetic, you're gonna go teach it to someone. But you're gonna do that. And like me, a pen and paper, I just like to write and like to see it. Not writing to a form of remembering, but a form of checking myself, recalling the information, recalling the facts. And then you want to look down. You want to check and look back and see if you got it right. And then what you got, if you got it wrong or not, like that's when you correct. That's where the correct comes in. See, recall, check, correct, repeat. Recall, check, correct, repeat. And with that, you're gonna correct it. You're gonna fix what you missed and say it the right way, and you're gonna repeat the loop. You're gonna repeat the loop. You repeat the loop the next day, the next week, again before test day. You keep repeating the loop till you get it. That's the thing. The 4-step active recall. Recall, check, correct, repeat. I love it. But that's exactly what you do. Because it's those active loops that keeps it going, like help you to understand. It maximizes your retention. And this is how you really shift from that temporary prep that day and just constantly quizzing. Because at the end of the day, you constantly quizzing, you're not going back and looking to see, okay, why I keep getting this question wrong, why this is wrong. Because we're not activating the active recall loop. Recall, check, correct, repeat. Okay? So I did want to talk about, because I didn't do too many slides, but I did want to share something with you. And that's one of the things I did want to talk about. Like, this is something that we know, right? So knowing things that we know, and why we don't have to necessarily look at things, because one of the things we even just talked about in our study with me sessions in our NaPlex, in the NaPlex paper program, like to have it in notes and have these calculation notes. And I saw how one of my clients, how she had like put like information in it, and it's like, okay, this is good, but we don't necessarily need all this information, right? So I do want to share something with you so we can really see like how this active recall really looks. Okay, if that's okay with y'all, I really want to go through this, right? But it's going to be very brief. Let's see. This is my first time doing it on this screen, so let's see how it works. Let's see what we got. Okay, good deal, good deal. Okay, we see, right? So what you see on the screen right now is things like that we already know. One thing we do know is that, I'm trying to get the frame. It's okay. One thing we do know is that, let me move this because I think I'm looking this way so I can look right. I can look to the right. There we go. So we do know that sodium, as you look at number one, it's just things we already know. And this is going back to biochemistry, chemistry, things you've done in undergrad, major introduction, doing pharmacy school, but this is some things we already know. And one of the things we know is like charges of elements. And sodium, like going back to the periodic table, back, way in, all right? One thing we do know is like sodium. Sodium has a charge of +1. Potassium has a charge of +1. Chloride has the charge of -1. Acetate has a charge of -1. Calcium has a charge of +2. Sulfate has -2. Carbonate has -2, right? These are some things we learned in chemistry. And then we also learned in chemistry the balancing of the charges, right? So we have sodium chloride. It's a balance because you have sodium plus positive charge 1 and chloride negative charge 1. It's a balance. So they equal to, like, their charge is 0. The charges. It's coming. You see, you hear it. I almost said like the valence. You're seeing it. You're seeing like the valence of 1. That's why sometimes sodium chloride has valence of 1, because we seeing the 1 there, right? Comes with calcium and sulfate. Calcium has a charge of +2. Sulfate has a positive charge of -1. -2. Look at the screen, LaQuita. But you can see that when you balance it out, it's going to be like plus, you know how we should do it back in the day, like positive charge 2 times negative charge 2, what it equals. That's the thing. And then you go into 3. And this is how I want to really break this down, like the difference between, because it's like one of those things of we doing these active recall loops. Like, we're not sitting here having just simple information. We just memorize stuff. Because some things, like, because she had literally put, when she wrote down a formula, she literally had the dissociation table list. I was like, we don't need that table, because if we understand number one, we don't necessarily need the table because things make sense. And this is why we don't need that table, because, for instance, calcium chloride. Calcium has a positive charge of 2. Chloride has a positive charge, the charge of -1. When it's just like when you have to balance the charge. So you see in the second step, I'm showing you that's in the blue. Calcium positive charge, and then you go down and put the ×2, right? Because you gotta make it balance. That's why it has calcium positive, and then you do that 2 -1 ×2, because you gotta balance it. So it's like, oh, now it's balanced. And this is why you always see calcium with the charge. I left that calcium because it has a +2 charge. Why you have chloride always have 2, because it has to balance. Because calcium with the +2 charge, chloride with the -2 charge is balanced. Then that's hence Hence, that's why there is a valence of 2. But we also have to see it, and you see the whole thing. But when you go back and we at the very last step, it has calcium plus 2 chlorides. That's the dissociation. That's how it says we have 3 particles, because we do 1 calcium, 2 chlorides, because those are 3 particles. But the valence had to balance, and the valence of 2. Now, did that make sense? Look at me. Now, did that make sense for you? That was one of the things. And this is how you do the loop. Like, you identify when you're studying, you have this type of aha moment. We just had this aha moment, right? So now we go look and see, okay, here's the loop, the question. Okay, what's the dissociation of factor for sodium chloride? It'll be 2. What about sodium acetate? You know, hey, what's that? 2. What about calcium chloride? 3. That's the question. And you don't do it once, like you saying, like you quizzing yourself, and you don't do it once. You said again until you identify the aha moment of how we can approach the material. Now we just had this aha. Now let's go back and review the material. Like calcium chloride, 3 particles, valence of 2. It's that. And it's that's the active recall loop. And we was like, okay, so what was the valence of this, and recall and write it down. And you repeat. And you just keep doing it. Like you do it today, you do it tomorrow, again for the exam. You do it until it becomes second nature. No, you're not gonna remember everything, but you're gonna do it. The more you review, the more you will remember. And that's what we do. Like, that's honestly too where coaching makes a big difference. A big difference. When my client showed me her notes, she had this entire list listed out. Like sodium chloride as 1. It was a small mistake, but it would have cost her points on the exams, like constant remember, like something like that. It's too much time. It's like, oh, it's simple. Sodium 1, chloride 1, valence of 1. And you have to have those small, like, that's why we are restructuring her notes into the way that, hey, it makes it easier to know, right? And that's what I call, especially in our program, and that's why I like our second session, like our bonus sessions during the week. And our bonus sessions is the study with me sessions, because we get to auto-correct in real time their preparation for the exam. Like, you actually come in and study. I actually hear and see. Yeah, like, we see how, what does it sound like? Are we where we are with this? Are we getting it? Are we not? What does that look like? Because sometimes you don't even realize. Sometimes you don't even realize you're leaving coffee behind until someone points it out. And a coach, a great coach, a strategist, helps you to see the blind spots and teaches you how to fix them. And that's honestly what I do. So here's the principle here. The principle is, you don't build confidence by memorizing everything. You build it by memorizing the right things, then looping them together until it sticks. What's the active recall loop? Recall, check, correct, repeat. But that's what it do. You recall things until it sticks. And when you truly master formulas and concepts like dissociation factors, corrected calcium, creatinine clearance, when you constantly memorize facts like these using the active recall loops, you're walking to the test knowing the essentials are automatic. That's how you move from fear to focus. That's how you continue to improve. And if you've been quizzing without reviewing, it's really time to stop. Because honestly, you keep leaving coffee at home. You just took all this time. Like, oh, it just hit me. You took all this time to write all these good notes. But are we reviewing these notes? It just, oh, I just want to get done and say I wrote the notes. Okay, but we're going to go back and study them. I already remember on a strategy call a couple months back. Forgot her name. Please forgive me, I forgot your name. But I remember your face right now. And she said, Dr. LaQuita, I'm ready. You know, I got this things. I got this. And she pulled out this big, I was trying to see if I had a thing with next, but I don't. But she pulled out this big 3-ring binder. And I was like, oh, okay. And she was like, I got my notes organized. I got this. I got that. I said, well, I'm going to tell you this then. Seems like what you need to do is study. She said, huh? I said, you need to just study. You got the notes. Are we studying them? Are we reviewing them? Are we doing those things? We got the notes, just simply study. And she said, wow. I said, yeah. I mean, hey, that's why I always say sometimes when we coming on these calls, sometimes, you know, you may think, oh, I'm going to pitch you for my Naplex Play program. I really don't. Sometimes I might just say, hey, join my Naplex Intensive. We've been doing it all year, once a month. Join the Naplex Intensive. You might really learn something. Or when I bring back, I want to do a couple times a year, when I bring back like the clinical case deep dive. Get that. Like, join in on those things. Because it's needed. Because we out here writing all these great notes, but we're not reviewing them. We're not studying them. We're constantly leaving coffee on the table. We leave it at home. We took all this time to make this coffee and drink it, but we never go back to get it. That's what we do when we write all these notes, organize all this stuff, and you never take time to review. You leave your coffee at home every time. You leaving opportunities for you to not do great on the exam. So I said, yeah, that stuff there, it's not going to work out for you. It's just not. So I want you to commit today to building your learning using the after recall loops. Try this week with formulas, like the ones we discussed today, the dissociation factors. And if you're really ready for feedback, you're ready for someone to auto-correct your notes and stop second guessing, you may need the book of Naplex VIP. And that VIP we can really go into different days. It doesn't have to be a full day. I call it VIP because it's an 8-hour, you get 8 hours of sessions. And in that sessions, we do different things. Each session you get 4 sessions within the 8 hours, and it's different things. And I'll provide the link below because it's time to make the effort stick. It's really time. And if something I said to you, please like, share, and comment, but more so share it. Like, share it to someone who needs it. Share it to someone to say, hey, if this broke, if this free you, share it. Share share the wealth. I even tell my clients, because my clients be coming up with some good stuff, and I be like, can you go put that in the Voxer chat? Because we're gonna use that. We're gonna use that. I tell them all the time, we're gonna use that. Put that in the Voxer chat, you know. Because we have our own little chat. We be talking. We talk, honey. We talk. We having good stuff. We have really good mindset. It's like, just put there because I need that. Okay. But I did hope. I know something I said spoke to you. But I need you to implement it, okay? We're going to stop leaving coffee on the table. On the counter. We're not going to go out and leave the coffee anymore, okay? But until next time, remember that pharmacy is on them if you are. Now I want you to go be great, okay? Talk to you guys later. Peace out.